Welcome to the Superconscious Success Podcast, where Jen and her Superconscious Success family co-hosts bring you valuable content each and every week on topics relating to manifestation, spirituality, and most of all, using your superconscious to manifest success in all areas of your life. Now on to today's episode.
Hey there, Superconscious Success fam. Welcome back to another incredible interview, and one that I have been looking forward to because we're going to be discussing a topic that I have not yet got up on my podcast, and that's going to be about twin flames. Now, if you've ever wondered what a twin flame is and how you can magnetize that twin flame back into your life, this episode is just for you. Today, I'm talking to Elle Hari, a Twin Flame and Ascension specialist that helps you to eliminate the fear, connect with your soul, and then by doing so, magnetizing this twin flame to you. I am excited to talk about this and also excited to hear about Elle's story because I know she's experienced the pain of losing somebody from her life, only to bring them back once she established that true connection within herself. Hi, Elle. How are you going today?
Hey, I'm great, Jennifer. Thank you. How are you?
I am incredible. So we're going to start off this interview by you telling us your story and how you came to be so interested in the twin flame and how you magnetized that person back.
Yeah, thanks. So, I became interested in this just because I was thrust onto a twin flame journey, my own twin flame journey. Mm-hmm. And that happened in 2013. So going on 9 years now. And it was, I met this person and, it was like, all of a sudden we were just drawn to each other like magnets, and our energies just built up, and I felt like no one else had gotten me like him. I felt like, no one, we've known each other forever. Like I found home. Right. And like we knew before, and it was just amazing for 6 weeks. And then suddenly he was just like gone. And I was just floored. I felt like my soul had literally been ripped from my body. I was an emotional puddle and wreck on the floor for 6 months. I couldn't function. I was a newly divorced single mom of 2 preschool kids. And I could barely get them up and out into preschool in the day. And then I just come home and 10 hours straight, lay on my floor and cry. It was awful. And I sought help in those 6 months through 13 different spiritual advisors, psychics, a voodoo mambo, a therapist, and just no one was able to help me. Back then, though, 9 years ago, believe it or not, twin flames wasn't even a thing in spiritual circles. Like not one person in those 6 months had mentioned twin flames to me until finally, the 13th person and 6 months in, I called a psychic call-in line, just desperate again. And that lady, she mentioned twin flames. So then I Googled twin flames, and at the time, 2 things came up. And one of them was this amazing lady in Australia who became my teacher. Her name was Leora. And I went right on her website and, signed up enrolled in a couple sessions with her, I guess. And one was right that night. And within 2 weeks, after 6 months of just being a mess, within 2 weeks, I was able to function. And within a month, I was back to feeling happy and normal and fun again. And within 3 months, my twin flame came back. And this was after he had blocked me and told me to F off and not ever reach out.
Wow. So we're going to start this off by you first telling us exactly what a twin flame is, and let us know, do all of us have a twin flame, or is there a select few, or how does that kind of work?
Yeah. So yes, everyone has and is a twin flame. Mm-hmm. And the reason why is you can understand that by understanding what twin flames are. Mm-hmm. So twin flames are one soul in 2 bodies, or 2 people that share the same soul. You can look at it either way. And everyone just has one twin flame. And why that is our soul is energy like everything else. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't originate in the 3rd dimension. Like our physical world is 3D, it's a 3rd dimension. Mm-hmm. And our souls originate in 5D, which is the 5th dimension. Now, the 3rd dimension has a completely different energetic paradigm of the 5th dimension. And the 3rd dimension It's one of opposites and duality. And we can see that in things just, like up and down, hot and cold, in and out, like light and dark, good and bad. Everything has an opposite. And in 5D, it's not like that. Everything just is. So our soul, when we incarnate here as energy, it has to assimilate energetically into the paradigm of the third dimension, which is one of duality and opposites. So it needs to make two opposites of itself. So one is in the body of one twin flame, and one is in the physical body of the other twin flame. And in energetic terms, opposites are called polarities. So one twin flame is one polarity of the soul's energetic field, and the other twin flame is the other polarity.
Wow. Okay. And so, but we may go through life, like, do we go through life and then maybe never get in touch with our twin flame? Is that something that can happen?
Well, I mean, I guess it can happen if you die in infancy and you have yet in that life,
And then you come back. It's all good. It's all good. We'll continue on. I can piece it all back together again. It's all good.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. It happens. It's a connection. So, but we were talking about twin flames. So, okay. So every one of us has a twin flame that our soul has split into. So how do we know who our twin flame is? And it doesn't always have to be, it's not always like a romantic partner or something like that, is it?
No, it isn't. That's a very good question. It isn't. We've had people who were like best friends, and then all of a sudden they went through the twin flame journey, and they, the whole thing happened just like, the twin flame thing. They were, got along great. And then all of a sudden one ghosted, one left, and, it's just like, what happened? Yeah. So you don't have to be, it doesn't have to be romantic. The majority tend to be, but it doesn't have to be that way at all. And there's really no rules to it. But
so
the way
why would, because you say you go through a twin flame journey and then all of a sudden you kind of split apart from each other. And so why is that? Is it kind of like when we go through the dark night of the soul and our spirit, we're going through that spiritual ascension? Is it similar to that?
The twin flame journey is part of the ascension process. And yes, it feels there's a push twin flame and a pull twin flame. So remember those polarities I was talking about, like where, one polarity is in one twin flame and the other polarity is in the other twin flame of the soul's energetic field. Well, okay, that's fine. Those polarity, it just lays dormant, like nothing, that doesn't mean anything until the soul has what's called soul recognition. And that's like a moment in time that the soul decides no one can choose this, no one can will this to happen. You can't intend this to happen. It just, the soul decides at one point it recognizes itself within the physical body of the twin flames. And at that point, those polarities become activated. And so they build up, and the polarities manifest as a push-pull. So one twin flame has this push energy, and it's pushing all of their energy onto the other twin flame that has a pull energy, who's pulling away from the push energy at the same time. So, and this energy is like, it's strong, it's soul energy. So it's powerful energy in the universe. So what happens is it's very, it's practically impossible for the twin flames physically to be together with this push-pull action going on underneath the surface, So that's what happens. Wow. And yeah, so the way you know that you're on a twin flame journey, though, is, I mean, I know you can go Google signs you met your twin flame, and, it's all like the positive things, like I mentioned earlier, like you feel like no one else has gotten you like that. Like you feel a sense of home, you feel like you've known them before, all of that, but you can have all of that with a close resonant soulmate as well.
Yeah.
So that's not just distinguishable to twin flames. How you know that you're on a twin flame journey is that once the push-pull goes into effect and the one twin flame pulls, the push twin flame is left there feeling like almost going through a dark night of the soul type feeling.
Right.
And they have this energy where they can't focus on anything. By the way, the push-pull is duality, and all duality is fear-based energy.
Mm-hmm.
And the fear-based energy controls the mind. So they have this fear-based energy just pushing onto this other twin flame, and it's controlling their mind. So they have these obsessive thoughts about the twin flame, like really where it's just like gets ridiculous and you can't think or focus on anything else. So that's one sign. The other sign is something we call core wound pain. And that happens usually either in your heart, your solar plexus, or your sacral chakra. And so what that is that's the place where your energy is pushing out of your body. So remember, the push twin flame has their energy pushing out. And so pushes out of one of those chakras. And when the pull twin flame pulls away and the push energy is pushing out, it feels painful in whichever chakra that is. But pain is a very wide like scale of it. So it could be anything from like a clenching, tightening, butterfly type, nervous type feeling, all the way to feeling like your soul's been ripped from your body and you've been disemboweled there, and anywhere in between. So that's called core wound pain. So that's another sign. So you have the obsessive thoughts, you have the core wound pain. And then the third sign is actually doubt. Because like I said, this is fear-based energy and it controls the mind. So even as, that there's just this knowingness, this resonance that this is something different. This is your soul won't let up until you go and you do the work that's necessary to stop this push from pushing. That's the whole point of the journey. But you just know, like this is something different that's never happened before. This is something different's going on here. Extraordinary is happening. But still, there's always this little tiny vestige of doubt in your mind being like, no, this can't really be happening. This isn't really my twin flame. That's not what's really going on. There's always going to be that little vestige of doubt until all of the fear-based energy is balanced out, because fear is doubt. And there's always a little bit of doubt. So those are the three signs, really.
Wow. Crazy. Yeah. So say like what happened with you, and you separated, you parted ways. It wasn't a very pleasant parting from the sounds of it. And so obviously you knew at that point, well, I suppose you didn't know until you actually went and spoke to the lady from Australia, did you? What was happening?
Right. Yeah. No, she's the only, I didn't know until I spoke with my teacher, Leora, what was really happening at all.
Okay, cool. So when she told you and you went through the process, how did you manage to bring him back into your life? What sort of process was that? And how did it feel when that happened?
Well, okay. So the process basically is you can magnetize your twin flame back in when you're not trying to magnetize them back in.
Yeah.
The twin flame paradox, right? Because as long as you're focused on getting that twin flame, that's your push energy pushing towards your twin flame, which means your twin flame is going to be pulling away. Yeah. So it can't happen that way. It has to be where you stop, you focus on yourself, you focus on this push energy. And by focusing on it, you learn to alchemize it, which means you're transmuting it. And when fear gets transmuted, it gets transmuted into love. And so you're actually taking your fear-based energy within yourself, that your twin flame actually shows you. That's the whole why the twin flame's involved and why this is a twin flame journey, is you're showing that part, your twin flame shows you that part of yourself. That's why they say the twin flame's a mirror, but really it's not. They're not reflecting what they're doing, saying, thinking, feeling. It's nothing to do with you. What has to do with you is the soul energy that you share. And so because you're in this journey, whenever they come around or whatever, your fear-based push energy feeds up again, and you're able to see more of that. And so that's how they show you yourself. But it's by focusing within on yourself that you see that part of yourself, not like on what your twin flame is doing or with whom or whatever, right? So that's what you do. You just focus on this energy. Yes.
So it's about staying in the present, I suppose, just focusing on your inner being, focusing on what you're doing, where you're going, and stopping those obsessive thoughts. And then that starts to attract them back, because you're not having the push that you've been, I suppose, pushing them away in some regards, because the energies are supposed so strong. So so if you say that happened and you didn't know what was happening, would you have that sense of not being one like your whole life, or what would happen in that situation? Say you weren't able to magnetize him back, what would sort of happen in that situation?
Well, as long as you are balancing out, we call it balancing out, you know, stopping the push energy and, you know, focusing on yourself, you're fine, because it's that push energy that is so desperately yearning and trying to get that physical form of your twin flame, right? And that's what makes you feel like you're not whole. Your fear energy is what has you looking outside of yourself for anything that we want, actually. When really we are everything that we desire, because really ultimately when it comes down to it, what everyone desires from whatever it is they think they want is a feeling of peace and safety and security.
Absolutely.
And wholeness. And you are that within yourself already, right? And so, and that's the paradox. It really is a paradox with anything we desire. Once we stop chasing it and looking for it and trying to desperately grab onto it, and we just be present and content with ourselves and be with ourselves, that's when, you know, we open up the energetic space to allow our soul and the universe to bring in what we desire.
Wow. Cool. So if somebody's struggling and they're wondering why something's happened with some relationship in their life, like you said, it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It can be a friend. Have there been situations where maybe there's children or something involved, or?
Oh yeah. Everyone's journey, the way it plays out is unique and individual for itself. So there's no way, like if you find like, oh, twin flames have to go through this or have to do this or go through this phase or whatever, that's all not true. There's like 99% of the information out there actually about twin flames is not true. It's misconstrued or it's made up or it's just not true.
Yeah.
It's very confusing out there. But yes, there's twin flames that, you know, share kids. We've had twin flames who have been married for 40 years, then all of a sudden, and they didn't know they're fine, and they thought normal marriage relationship, but then next thing you know, like they had soul recognition and there they are going their crazy twin flame stuff. Also very common is twin flames living on opposite ends of the world, never even meeting in person, but meeting through like online or something. And you know, the energy,
it's like that instant connection that you just know that there's something else there. And so we only have one twin flame because we've obviously split. So what happens if, for instance, your twin flame, something happens to them and obviously they pass away or they ascend at some point? Will that part of our soul, does that reincarnate, I suppose, into another body, or how would that work?
Yeah, so that part of your soul, well, first of all, for you, it would work like, say you're the one, your twin flame passes over. This has happened, you know, more than once for people we worked with. The whole point of the journey is not to be with your twin flame physically. Yes, that can happen. Yes, that can be a byproduct, but that's not why your soul makes you do this. Like I said, it's part of the ascension process. So the whole point is alchemizing your fear-based energy into love, which causes you to shift closer into alignment with your soul and your truth, your passions, everything you desire, which your soul is love energy. So that's how you shift closer into alignment with your soul. And ascension is rising up. It's rising up out of the fear-based energy of the 3D physical world, and in a spiritual way, right? It's not physically levitating, but you know, you do that by alchemizing your fear-based energy into love. Love is a higher vibration energy. So so you can still do that if whether your twin flame is physically there or not. Once you're on the journey, you still can see your own fear-based energy. And of course it's gonna, you know, giving you in your mind, it controls your mind. So it's going to have other ways of you for grieving your twin flame. All of that is a way for you to see the fear-based energy and balance that out. Grief is fear. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it is, you know, like our soul, love doesn't grieve anything because love is all encompassing. It's not missing anything, you know? But, you know, so there's just all different ways you can balance out the fear-based energy. So that's what happens with that. Now, the part of your soul, if your twin flame passes, no, it'll reincarnate, you know, in the next lifetime until you reach ascension.
Okay. Great. So let me just ask you, what is your beliefs about the concept of, the world being an illusion, and the importance that we should have on maybe going with the flow, because that would make a massive difference in attracting that twin flame into your life too.
Yeah. The fact that our physical world is an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what does that mean to you?
So that means to me that nothing really matters
Mm-hmm.
in the physical world, which means the more that, and this is how we teach our students, the more you can stay in your center, your heart center, which is where you can access your soul feelings, actually.
Mm-hmm.
The more you can like just be there and out of your head and just be, you'll see that that's the case, because the physical world keeps changing. It's dynamic. Nothing is permanent. It's all temporary. Whereas the only thing that's eternal, the only thing of any of us or anything that we experience is eternal, is our souls.
Yeah. Our
souls are eternal. So that's what's real. And the soul is how we're connected to our twin flame. We share the same soul. We're not connected through personality. We're not connected through any kind of physical attributes. They can be all over the board and then some, right? It doesn't, those have nothing to do with it. We're only connected through our soul energy. And so the longer we can hang out in our heart center and our soul, first of all, our soul is everything we desire. It's love, it's peace, it's joy, it's abundance, it's our purpose, our passions, everything that we truly desire, our truth, is our soul. So the longer we can hang out there, and when you reach ascension, you'll be there constantly. But until we reach ascension, we can't always be there. Our mind's gonna always take us out. But when we can catch that as often as we can and just kind of softly go back in when we are able to, the more we can do that, the more then we're emanating our truthful energy, our soul energy out there into the universe, which by law of attraction means the more we're going to start magnetizing in people, situations, and things that more closely resonate with our truth and what we truly desire and our purpose and our passions, including especially our twin flame, because that's the only other thing in the whole entire history of the cosmos that resonates exactly with our truth, is our twin flame.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it just, what you focus on, you attract in when we look at the law of attraction. But that's kind of, as long as we're going with the flow, as long as we, as you say, recognize that, the world is an illusion. Everything that's in front of us it's not real. As you said, it's all a perception. And so we need to be able to stay in that place of love, and fear is what's going to push us out of that space. So what meditation to me, I mean, I'm a big meditator. I love meditation. It gets me to that connection with my higher self, which is what we're all looking for. So I would assume you're probably a big meditator too.
Actually, I'm not.
No, you're not? Okay.
No, not anymore. It's not since going through this journey, actually. I think one of the gifts of this journey, at least I've been able to, is to just drop into that without having to actually do the whole meditative process. But again, I had to be aware to do it, and, I can't be there all the time.
No, unfortunately. No, we can't reside in the 5D all the time. So, but that's awesome. And I think emotions must play a really big part in this, as we said, with staying in that place of joy and letting go of that fear. What are some strategies you may recommend that would help somebody to be able to let go of that fear, to be able to release it, and just realize that our soul's journey is joy, and it's abundance, and it's prosperity, and everything else that we're looking for? What are some techniques that people could actually use to do that?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked that. So the first thing is to realize that any of our emotions, are emotions that change. We have our soul feelings, which are constantly peaceful and calm, but then we have emotions, which we can feel happy and high one day and crap the next day or next minute or however, right? They change. They're physical world emotions, right? So they're not real either. What they are, they're valid. You should always feel your feelings. I'm not saying to resist them, but just to understand, whenever you have some kind of negative feeling about something, whether it's anger or sadness or whatever, feel it, feel the feeling. And then when you're in the middle of feeling it, if you're crying, you're kicking something or whatever, hopefully you do this like alone and not dump it on other people. But when you're in the process of doing that, notice what thought forms come in about whatever you're experiencing those feelings about. And then realize that those thought forms, the only reason why you're feeling negatively about something is because you're judging whatever it is you're thinking about as a bad or negative thing. Right. So it's all about being judgy, actually. For example, I'll give you this example I love to use. So, okay, the bride on her wedding day, has a whole outdoor wedding plan, then it's like raining, right? So she's looking at the rain and she's like thinking it's awful. Like it's a horrible thing. I want rain, bad. Down the street on the other side of town, the farmer whose crops have been dying of drought, all of a sudden the rain, and he's looking at the same exact thing, the same external physical world thing. And he's thinking, oh, this is great.
Thank goodness. Yeah.
So it's not the rain or anything that's going on outside of us that's good or bad. It's all in how we're judging it ourselves.
Yeah.
So nothing is good or bad. It's all in how we judge it. And we form those judgments based on so many things, like, past experiences, family beliefs, limiting beliefs, behavior triggers come in, but it really helps if you can, feel the feeling, but then if you can see, wow, I'm feeling this way because I'm thinking that this thing really sucks. Then you realize, no, that thing
it's our perception of it. It's our perception. And
right, exactly.
everybody has a different perception. And if you realize that, nothing is really good or bad, it's how you perceive that to be, as you said. And that's a really good example of the bride and the farmer, because what seems to be really terrible to one person, to another person is a blessing. And so rather than beat yourself up over things that you're thinking or how you're feeling, and I've always said to the kids, you need to feel your feelings, right? Because they're actually a message to you, something that the soul's trying to get across to you. So you've got to feel them, and you've got to know exactly what's happening. You've got the thought forms coming in, recognize what the message is that's trying to come through to you. Because if you keep pushing those feelings away, you keep pushing those, anger or fear or anything like that away, then you're not going to get the messages that are trying to come across. So I totally agree with you. It's absolutely important that you listen to it and get those messages. So
no resistance. Resistance is actually, and the judgment is fear. All that kind of stuff is resistance. Because if we judge something as bad, we're resisting it, actually, and we don't want to resist our feelings or our thoughts. Actually, we want to see them. We want to see them. We want to feel them. We want to, allow them to be, but then take a step back and, and really see the big picture of what's going on. Yeah, and that we are in charge of.
Yeah, we're in charge of our own destiny, really. And I think the thing is that a lot of the time you were briefly touched on beliefs, and our belief system is, it's instilled in us by the time we're 7 years old. And so often how we perceive something is based on the messages that came from people, from our parents or grandparents or authority figures at a very young age. So they're not even actually our perceptions of things. They're actually the perceptions that have been drilled into they're unconscious. They're our parents, and that they haven't done anything wrong in that regard. That's come from their belief systems too. So often we've got generations and generations of belief systems that have all piled up on one another. So oftentimes we go, oh, that's really bad, but it's only because of what other people perceive it to be. So it's really important that we start to tap in internally and go, is this what I truly believe?
That's totally true. Yeah. And not even just our families, but of generations of families, of course, but also society as a whole, and civilization, laws and norms and even like the definition of love and how romantic relationships should be and all of that. I mean, that all just, it just comes from generations and generations of just humanity.
Yeah. And you do see it evolving over time. Like even now, like as the years go on, that evolves and those definitions change, and you will see it change all around you. But it is important that we don't look at what somebody else believes and think that's the way it has to be, because that's not the situation. We need to tap inside and go, okay, how do I really feel about this? Is this something that, you know, I perceive as negative or positive, or is this something that I believe that I want to be a part of, or is this, you know, and I think that's the problem, is that we don't tap into what we truly believe. We allow those that are around us, or society, you know, especially if we watch the news all the time, to dictate what's, you know, what our belief system is. So that's why I think it's really important, because then once we can actually accept our own beliefs, and once we can accept our truth, then that fear and that judgment and all of that just dissipates. So yes, it is something that is really important to take control of. So I love how you said that, Elle.
Thank you. And it's empowering, right? I mean, it's so amazing how, like, we just give our power. We've been, you know, just conditioned to give our power away, you know?
Yep. And to not know that we're doing it. That's the thing. Exactly. It's like you're going, but, you know, why do I feel like this? Why do I feel like I'm doing something wrong? Why do I feel angry, or why do I feel scared? And then you realize when you look back and you go, oh, wow, okay, that's the reason why. And often we've had energetic ties that have been hanging on to us for so long that all we need to do is just release it. And then it's, you know, and then it's all gone. I mean, and this is part of the problem with the lack mindset at the moment, or the poverty mindset when we're talking about finances, is because when we look back in our history and we look back in our belief systems, we've gone through experiences that have caused some sort of energetic tie, some sort of belief systems. I know that happened to me growing up as well, because my parents kind of struggled growing up. And once you're able to actually get through that, then you can actually start to recognize that that's not who you are. That's not your truth. I think that's what our soul's trying to get across to us.
Yes, because everyone's soul is perfect. It's love, it's peace, it's joy, it's abundance. You know, there's more than enough to go around. Everyone's is that.
Yep. Yeah. And so when we talk about the twin flames, and I love this because there have been times when, you know, when I've met someone, I've had this instant connection. It's just like like you said, like you've known them for years and years, but there is a difference, because you did specify that you can have the twin flame, or you can have the soulmate, or the soul family, or whatever you want to call it. So how would you differentiate between those two? I know you said that there's that obsession and, you know, those other little points that we pointed out, but how would you sort of like separate the two of them? Because you could have a lot of different soulmates and soul family.
Right. Yeah. You know, you really can't differentiate until until even the twin flame.
Until you've gone through the twin flame journey.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, otherwise you wouldn't be any the wiser. Like I said, there are close resonance soulmates that can, you know, can invoke, I guess, that you can feel those kind of connections with that you feel with the twin flame prior to the push-pull manifestation of the energies. But I do want to point out that your soul family, so this is interesting. So obviously you and your twin flame are the same soul. So you have the same soul family. Yeah. Even though physically, you know, you're going to have two separate physical families, it looks like, but they're all part of the same soul family, because you always have the same soul family, right? That you kind of incarnate with in every lifetime. And, you know, but, you know, one lifetime, your mother could be your twin flame's brother, and like vice versa, and like, you know, all this other stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, awesome. Well, we have covered a lot today in terms of the twin flames. Now, the big thing that we need to focus on with this is that if you are going through that twin flame journey and you are feeling those emotions that Elle was talking about, and you've got that obsession and you know, you feel like you don't belong, and you're lying on the floor for 10 days straight crying, and you're wondering what's happening to you, then there are resources out there that can help you as well. Elle's one of them. Do you do coaching, Elle?
Yes, we have coaching program, Magnetize Your Twin Flame coaching program, and then beyond for people who after they finish that program as well. We
Okay.
also have we also have a download do it yourself system, which is our download teachings, and you also get into a Facebook group with that, and you can add on some extra coaching to that if you'd like to do that. We also just launched on the 14th on Valentine's Day our very new brand new Be With Your Twin Flame app.
Nice.
And so and that's where you can go and you can take a quiz if are they really your twin flame, because everyone has that question.
Yeah.
And you can take a free quiz there and see about that. And then the app's really awesome just to help, because it's all about really feeling good again and, getting out of your mind and all of that. And so the app's really going to be helpful with that. And also with the app, we have different meditations for how you're feeling, just to get you out of like kind of awful space, quickly. And then we have, a twin flame challenge, the Be With Your Twin Flame boot camp is on there, plus Q&As. So there's a lot of stuff going on, self-love rituals. So there's a lot of stuff going on in our app, and it's really cool. And it's but it's not available in the app stores yet. But there is a link that you can find it if you go to like our website or something.
Okay, so what is your website, Elle?
BeWithYourTwinFlame.com.
BeWithYourTwinFlame.com. Now I will put that down in the show notes so people can go and check it out. And definitely download that app and take the quiz. And if there's somebody in your life that you're wondering whether they are your twin flame. And I have really thoroughly enjoyed this, Elle. And I think that we've got a lot of great information across to people. So hopefully they won't have to go through such a hard transition. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much, Jennifer.
Okay, bye-bye.